preparing to live stream on YouTube.
Going live on YouTube. 4 years of Little Metal Foxes.
That's us. Going live on YouTube with some tool tips to live stream. Here we go. All right. So if you really want to enjoy this and you have, and you would think we're fun now, put us at 75% playback.
Oh, God.
Jason loves doing that, my husband. He's like, I love watching you at 75% back because you all seem drunk.
Oh, I see. It slows us down. It's not, it's like,
it's like, hello, Little Foxes.
Like the deep sea version.
Yeah, not that slow. Not that slow. Just slow enough to sound hilarious. Anyway, hi, everybody. It's me, Jennifer, Little Metal Foxes. And I've got
Julia from Little Metal Foxes.
And
from Little Metal Foxes.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so we're live from Seattle and London, and we've got some fun things to talk about today. This is one of those things that we have had so many people asking us about. And while we were in Barcelona, we found some cotton thrumming material.
A commercial kit for it, or a commercial preparation for it, right? Like I've always heard of it as like, oh, just make your own, right?
Yes.
Buy your own string, make your own braid. But we were able to buy one pre-made with lovely soft cotton made in Switzerland or somewhere. We don't know where the cotton is actually from, but we were told that it was that the braids were assembled in Switzerland.
That's right. So I think because this is very soft cotton, it is used specifically for professional jewelers to thrum. And thrumming is
a pretty long staple too. I mean, in order for the string not to shred too quickly, I'm guessing that the individual threads of the cotton have to be fairly long.
Yeah, and a nice long fiber, and this is super soft. So can you use, okay, first of all, thrumming. Thrumming is taking this and putting it onto like a hook on your bench and then loading it up with a polishing compound or a pre-polishing compound like Tripoli, and you thread it through the finer details in a pierced out piece or in a stone setting, that has like a prong setting basket where you need to get into all the little details and polish that up. Mm-hmm. You can't do that sometimes with a brush or with polishing points. They just sometimes can't get in behind things and underneath things the way that you can with a piece of flexible cotton. So thrumming is used for that. And in the industry, there are people that spend an enormous amount of time being trained for people like, at Tiffany's and, Cartier, where you have people that spend, 5 years just like,
to polish,
apprenticing levels to be able to do this. And it takes like years to be like a thrumming master at some of the professional jewelry places, because being able to do this without leaving any streaks, without leaving any grind lines, without taking it up to a perfect polish takes a really fine touch. And it's but it's a thing that we can do in our own studios that really is helpful when you're trying to get around like a stone setting or into something that's really delicate. Or a pierced out area that's too thin for something like a piece of sandpaper. So if you've got, the sandpaper trick threaded through is a type of thrumming, and that works pretty well. You can use things like the acetates or the cloths that have a little bit of that are made specifically with abrasives on them to smooth down like saw lines and things. But when you're trying to get in and polish stuff on the inside and underside, around the back, where you've got like an in-between area which you can't get into with a file or a polishing point or brush or something like that, thrumming is your way to go. So
I gotta say, one of the things that thrumming will do that none of those other things will do, right? Because pieces of sandpaper or a rotary tool are only going to be working in a straight line, right? And so your little piece of cotton there, you can actually bend it, and you can polish a curve.
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
You really can, I mean, you can kind of do it if you hold the saw or the sandpaper, but it's not as easy.
And a lot of times it's too fine. You need something a little more flexible that can like wrap around something to be able to get like around the backside of a post or a prong, you know, that you can't get into any other way. Like if a stone's already set, for example, there's like nothing that will like, into those little areas. So this particular thread is really kind of nice cotton. And you can double it up to make it a little fluffier, or, you know,
Sure.
half, 2 or 3 times to get it to be a little bit thicker and wind it up to get like a cord out of it. But you can also use other kinds of threads that are just a basic cotton thread for things like, you know, oh, give me some examples, ladies. Like from the sewing store, cotton thread.
Cotton twine that's kitchen twine.
Yeah.
Cotton kitchen twine doesn't have anything on it because it's designed to, like, you know, tie up your turkey or your chicken, your poultry. And so it doesn't have any waxes or plastics on it because you don't want any of that stuff to melt in the oven. So if you're buying kitchen twine, it's going to be basically food safe, which is great. So that doesn't have any additives or anything on there.
Yeah, this is really super soft too. It's like, and the just like with your buffs, if you're working with a stiffer string, you'd want to use something, or a coarser string, you'd want to use your coarser abrasives like Tripoli and Zam. With the softer ones, you could use things like rouge and brighter polishing things. But what was your thing, Helen? Your example? Was it kitchen twine?
Yeah, I was just saying kitchen twine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's like kite thread.
And all cotton twine that you can get at the hardware store or Joann's or, you know, whatever fabric store, grass store.
Is gardening twine, well, gardening twine, most of that is much coarser. So it's.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it's really super coarse, you want something that's going to be really soft and flexible usually. And even unwaxed dental floss can be used as well. If you're trying to sort of get into real specific areas. But this is how this works. So basically with, you know, the hank that I've got here, you can pull out a thread, which is really kind of.
So if you're making a braid of your own, one of the tricks would be to not braid it too tightly.
Right.
Right. Because if you braid it really, really tightly, then the pulling that thread out becomes, and you don't want it to be too long either. You also don't want it to be too long because you can only reach so far.
Right. Well, and this thread is like about 50 inches. So you don't need it to be quite that long. And
double it to work with it, right?
Doubled over as well.
Yeah. I mean, if you double it and tie a knot in the end, then it makes it easy to hook it onto something.
Right.
You can use one thread then, or you could use 2.
Right. But you can also take this, double it over, twist it up, and you can even use your flex shaft to give it a real tight twist, and that makes it a little bit thicker. But if you want something even fluffier, you can even do, you know, a shorter one. So I kind of like doing the shorter version because I can hook it onto my bench and use it right here. And that gives it a little more material for my rouge to attach to. Even use it, right? So I can hook it around my saw.
Yep.
I don't even have to put it into the clip of the saw here. I can just, here we go. I can just hook it over my eye like that, knot it at the top so it stays together. And here we go. And I don't necessarily want to tie this too close to the top so that I can get it back off again when I need to. Here we go. So yeah, so I can kind of loop it around like so that I can actually slide off. Then I can hook it into the bottom and tighten it. And I don't want it too tight, but what I can do at this point, and let me switch my camera over so you guys can see. Yeah, flip this over here. Yeah, let's see. Things have slowed. There we go. All right. I'm gonna flip it over to this camera so you guys can see. There we go. And so what you can do is one of 2 things. you can, hook it onto something on your bench pin. So what if you've got something that is either like a screw hook that you can hook it on, that makes it really easy. What?
That even a thumbtack.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A thumbtack works great. I've got a magnet that I can just hook right on like that. And that'll keep me from working this too hard because the thread can cut through metal. So I want to be a little careful not to cut through it. And having just a little bit of tension is good rather than too much tension.
I think that's a good point, actually, that whenever you see somebody doing this, you really can't tell how hard they're pushing the piece into the thread.
Right.
I've seen videos of the sort of Cartier, Tiffany, white lab coat clad women thrumming very high-end pieces. And it's not apparent from the work that they're doing how hard they're pushing, but
Right.
thrumming has been used for millennia. That's how
Yeah.
slices of stone were cut off, right? Was a cord, probably a leather strip that had sand, and you just rub it back and forth on a groove on a rock, and you can slice right through it. And so you rub hard enough, it'll actually cut the stone away or cut the metal away.
Exactly. So being able to kind of, thread, one or two of these through makes it pretty easy. So I've got like the basket that's on my stone setting. And if I would need to get in there, what I can do is use a hook or a needle and pull it through.
Mm-hmm.
Let me grab my needle here. And I just need to grab the thread. Grab my thread. A tiny little crochet hook.
Oh, that's very handy to have, actually.
A little crochet hook.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Okay, you come here. Yeah. Here we go. So come on. There.
Come on.
Yeah, here you go. So I just need to sort of coax that through the setting. So that's behind the stone and inside my my stone setting. So at this point, to be able to polish the inside of that, I can curl this around a little bit to clean the inside of my prong up, or my the basket up, which I really can't get to any other way. So just to be able to kind of clean this up with some rouge, which is what I've got loaded on here right now. And this is the Luxie rouge, which is nice because I can use that to I can rinse it off afterwards. So doing a little bit of just final cleanup on something like sterling, it's pretty easy to get behind the there we go. Pull that through that way. So I want to get behind my prong, because sometimes the back side of the prong, I don't want. I'll show you how I've got it threaded through here.
Yeah, you get the focus. Okay, maybe even a little closer.
So I've got it pulled through.
Okay.
Around that prong, right? And there we are. So like that. And by pulling this back and forth around that prong, I can polish the backside of the prong without flattening it out. Without
hook the thread around like your thumb or something, and then can you do it with one hand, right, where you're holding the piece? And then I'm just curious if you like wrap it around you hook it around your thumb and wrap it around your forefinger, and then you can kind of go back and forth like this. Does that work?
So by having, because I'm holding the piece, pressure on the thread. So that way I can get like behind the post and clean that out, right? And just having, fresh thread is really kind of nice to be able to kind of clean those areas out. So now the inside of that, I've got kind of a nice polish on. But when I've got, tiny little areas that are, in between things underneath, being able to run a thread through that is going to make it pretty easy. Like I said, using something like your saw, if you've got a piece that is like pierced out, you can kind of use that just up and down in your saw blade, or instead of a saw blade. But this becomes really easy to kind of clean up in those like really tight little small places, in between little prongs, like that, where I need to kind of get in there and really just have a little bit of focus on the negative areas. You know, the prongs themselves have got, you know, nice high flat areas, but the you know, those
Oh,
inside
sure. In
faces,
between polishing those little,
right?
the little towers, the little crenellations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
that'll get those in between lower areas. And that's, you know, one of those areas it's like you can't get in there with, you know, sandpaper and you know, you don't want to get in there necessarily with something that is too abrasive because you don't want to remove the
Right.
details from
Yeah.
your surfaces, right? You just want to kind of clean up those low areas and make them sparkle. So this is a really kind of nice, gentle way to be able to do that. And depending on what particular compound you're using, you know, it can be more cutting compound, but I'm using like my finishing polish on this. So it's not going to hurt my stone. It's not going to hurt my setting. It's just going to clean up and polish those low lying areas. And you can see how much, you know, how much oxide is coming off on the string. If I was doing this with gold or platinum and doing a lot of it, I'd recycle these because those oxides would be coming off on the string. And so I would put those into my, in with my bench sweeps.
Mm-hmm. Right. Especially with the high carat metals. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so yeah. Yeah. So just kind of having something that I can, you know, hold it steady or hook it around and be able to apply some light pressure and just clean it up by hand, right?
Well, I think it's interesting that you're using a magnet because a magnet, you could obviously pull that hard enough that
Yeah.
it would pull it out from under the magnet.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
So you are clearly not applying a ton of pressure because otherwise you would pull it out,
Right.
which I think is interesting. Like I said, it's one of the things you can't tell from watching someone how much pressure they're applying.
Yeah, because I literally, if I had, you know, with a compound on here like ZAM or
Mm-hmm.
Triple E or something like that, you know, if I was applying a lot of pressure and like I could use this to literally like cut through my metal and wear through the
Your
metal.
metal. Exactly.
Right. So with this too, what I'm going to do is keep this with my rouge compound, my red compound. And the compound that I have on here is my Luxie Red. And Luxie is, I got this great little sample pack from Rio. And I love this stuff. It is, one of the things I love about this, by the way, is that it comes with like the chart of what, right? What brush to use it on. And it has like all the colors and all the definitions and which ones to get like the highest luster. So I really love that the sample pack comes with kind of a user's guide on how these work. But the other thing is they're silica free, they're water based, and a few of these are actually vegan. So that is one of the nicest things about this. And because it is silica free and water based, this stuff I don't have to worry about. I've got pearls and bone and glue and things on some of my pieces where I've like mounted things. And I don't put this into the pickle. I don't want to use a strong detergent on this. I can use a more gentle soap and water, warm water, to clean off my compound rather than, you know, a degreaser that can be astringent, more astringent than I want on certain materials. The other thing that I really like in terms of being able to kind of clean things up is using either as far as like alternative polishing compounds, is flitz. Pull the string out here.
How often do you recharge the thread, or do you just get a new thread?
You can recharge the thread just like you would recharge your buffer, you know, or your, you know, polishing wheel. So if it looks like it's not, you know, really doing a whole lot, add some more compound. So here we go. Ugh, these strong magnets, boy. There we go. Okay. So if you've got a, you know, a paste compound like this one, flitz is kind of nice because you can use this with pretty much not just any metal, but this works with a lot of other materials as well. And this you can pick up at the hardware store. Really like Flitz as a compound polisher because it works on stuff like, plexiglass and all kinds of things. So if you work with mixed material, this can be really nice. But it makes it really easy to, get this loaded up because it's wet. And if you're working with a compound that doesn't look like it's applying well, with the Luxie, because they're water-based, you just have to dampen the string and it'll soak into the string a little bit better, right?
Yeah, good point.
And use that works really well. But if you're working with an oil-based compound like Rouge or Tripoli, you can use a little bit of a solvent on here, and it will just suck that right into it'll dissolve it and melt it right into the string. So you get it a little bit deeper into the string to get it started. And that's really similar to what you would do with a fresh fluffy wheel when you're polishing as well. So anywho, but same thing, give it a little do in between the little grooves. You can see
So
that.
which one is that? What Flitz is that? You've got.
This is the polishing paste.
Okay.
Yeah, just the polishing paste.
It's for polishing, like final polish. It's for the.
Yeah. So if I've got, some cleanup or if I've got some tarnish, remove, this works really well to sort of clean up pieces and all those little fine details. So again, I don't want to, I am not a 5-year, apprentice from, Tiffany's or Cartier, but I can tell you that this has worked for me. And, so if you're trying to sort of clean out those little places, and I know I've had somebody recently like, how do I get into those little spaces and get that stuff out of there? Can I use a brush?
Let me tell you how you do that.
Exactly. So, yeah. So there we go. So yeah, that'll give me that nice little shine in between those little areas and being able to get in behind things like my little stone settings. The other thing that you can use for things like final polishes and high shine is charcoal, which does charcoal. So using like your soft charcoal.
Charcoal. I thought you said turkle. I'm like, what is turkle?
Oh, little turtles. But so if you've got, a charcoal sanding block, actually, charcoal does a really nice bright finish on silver and gold as well, because it's so fine. It's more fine than pumice is. So if you've got some of that charcoal, just, sand a little bit off, get some water, load it up, and just use a little bit of charcoal on that too. And that works great because it's water-based. It washes away easily. It leaves a beautiful shine. So, yeah.
I've read of charcoal being used in some Japanese finishes.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's used a lot in for kombu and for if you're doing like a rokusho patina on shibuichi.
That's it. It's the finishing of the rokusho patina is with charcoal, I think.
Or you apply it. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So I have a ball of twine.
Oh yeah.
General purpose cotton twine, and this material is cotton polyester blend, which isn't going to hurt anything for this purpose. You wouldn't want to put this necessarily in the oven, maybe, but
Yeah.
Right. Say because I noticed
definitely not oven.
I was going to say because what I was trying to get you to do when you were doing your thrumming on your little piece, I have to take this off. It has tape on it. The label's got tape on it. All right, so this looks like I don't know if that's the end. Where's the end? The brand fresh thing. Here it is. What I was trying to ask you was, could you do something like this, where you basically wrap it around, like you had, actually it would be easier. You had it threaded through your piece, right? You had it threaded through your piece. So your piece is on here. Could you just like hook your finger in here and then do this, wrap it around this end?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then you can hold the piece and you can kind of do this, right? Now you have,
And you can wrap it like all the way around, like something like the post for your stone setting. So you can like do a loop around it and then just run it back and forth, and then it's polishing the whole loop, right? So
Oh, where
And I would
whole
you're
wire.
also
talking about if you do this,
Yeah,
right? And then you're running it, you can't hold this, but you're running it back and forth.
gently. Yeah.
Yeah.
But polishes all the way around the stone setting wire.
Still have to have a situation where, let's see if I could do it.
You can do it. I believe in you. It's using your finger as your
Yeah, if you had this, I'm trying to make it using my two fingers as the two ends.
a knot in one end. Boop, boop. So you can do that, right?
Yeah. Put a hook in one end. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yes, that's what I was trying to ask, is if you could do that. Yes. And you totally can. So it's sort of a cat's cradle kind of thing, you know, the whole, you can tie things to various different digits and use them in different ways to get into where you need to get into.
And I would probably say, you know, if I was doing that, I would probably do it around my ring finger, because that is the weakest finger and most sensitive, and you have a little gentleness built in there. You know? So being able to make this so that you can, you know, kind of thread stuff on and work back and forth and loop it around where you need to would be a great way to go. You know, just depending on, you know, which finger you're most comfortable doing that with, I guess. But yeah, you could totally do that.
I have one of your threads from your thing. So I wanted to do a little comparison of the string that I have here, right? So this is the, you know, general purpose cotton twine, and let you see how it looks different to this one that we got, because this one has a tighter twist, I think, among other things. Hold on, let me get here. So turn this on. Since I have two, I can show you.
Okay.
Oops, what am I doing? That's not what I wanted to share. I wanted to share my second camera. I was sharing our website. It's hardly what we wanted. Okay, so this is the thread that Jennifer has, right? Which has a pretty tight twist in it. And then this is the kitchen twine that I have.
Yeah.
So it's not as tight a twist. And then down here on the end where I was kind of fiddling with it and playing with it, it started untwisting really quickly, right?
Yeah.
I'm betting that Jennifer's is twisted up pretty tightly.
Yeah.
Yours probably stayed twisted up. So this would be one of the advantages of actual thrumming twine that was designed for this purpose.
Yeah.
That it would,
you know, I mean, you can twist it tighter, you could separate it if you need to. So you've got some options if you need thinner or thicker thread.
I mean, this one, you wouldn't separate this, but I'm just trying to see how many strands this is. It looks like it's at least 4, maybe 5. Whereas this one's 4. Yeah, I think maybe both of these are like 4 strands, but this one, when you make string, you have to twist it the wrong way and then let it twist back up. That's how threads are made. And so this commercial thrumming thread was obviously made with a tighter twist than the stuff you can just buy, or at least what I bought, which was.
That's extremely soft combed cotton on this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And as I said before, I'm betting that the staple length, right? So the length of the threads that are used in this twine is probably long too. This is the commercial thrumming twine, and this is the kitchen twine. So anyway, I just wanted people to see that because I thought
different piece. So I can actually untwist this
mm-hmm.
and even finer thread. So I've got like 2 and 2 instead of the 4 that's on here. It did take me some work to get them separated. So,
but I'm not sure you'd want to do that because that's a lot of work.
It is, but you know, if you've got,
I suppose,
a tiny little area you've got to get into, that's an option, you know. And I just keep this on a hook next to my bench. So
So
there
it
you
would be cool if we could get the commercial stuff, if someone would carry that. I don't know.
I think, we were looking, and I think Guess Wine or Otto Frei, I think, carries it.
Carries the actual hank of Thrumming thread. That would be cool. Well, we will look again, and I'm just winding up my thread. If we
Got it on Amazon or someplace. It was like something that when we were talking about it, one of the students was like, oh, it's there. Oh, awesome.
I would go with, Guess One or Otto Frei over Amazon for sure, in terms of just making sure you're getting something that is high quality.
Yep. All right, people, there you go. Thrumming.
Thrumming.
Yay.
Okay. So, join us every week on Tuesdays for Tooltip Tuesday. Make sure you before you go anyplace, like and subscribe and ring the bell so you know when and where we're going to be and when we're live. And if you are a Little Metal Foxes student, be sure to check out all of our, oh, hey, Wendy, how are you doing? Check out all of our tool tips here on YouTube. And if you're one of our students, be sure to send us some pictures of your work so that we can get you entered into our 4-year anniversary giveaway. We've got stuff from Lindstrom, and we've got stuff Line Punch Forge, and we've got stuff from so we've got all kinds of fun giveaways in May. So email us at info@Little Metal Foxes, post it on Instagram and tag us Little Metal Foxes or hashtag Little Metal Foxes 4. So there you go. You guys have a great week. We will see you next week with another tool tip. Have a great week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.